I want to remind you today, you are stronger than you think. Life has a way of throwing challenges at us, pushing us to the edge, making us wonder if we have what it takes. Maybe you've been through disappointments. Maybe you're facing a battle that seems impossible. But let me tell you, there's a strength inside you that is greater than anything that comes against you. You weren't created to live defeated, weighed down, feeling like you don't have what it takes. No, you were created with resilience, with determination, with a power that won't let you stay down. When you feel life has a way of convincing us that we are limited, circumstances arise that make us feel inadequate, unqualified, and unprepared. Maybe you've been through seasons where things didn't go as planned, where disappointment settled in, where unexpected challenges shook your confidence. It's easy to look at those moments and think, maybe I'm not strong enough. Maybe I don't have what it takes. But the truth is, within every individual lies a power far greater than they realize. Too often people measure their ability by what they see in the present moment. They look at their current strength, their current resources, their current knowledge, and assume that is all there is. But the human spirit is designed with hidden reserves, qualities that often remain dormant until adversity calls them to rise. Think about the times in life when you faced something you thought was impossible. Perhaps there was a moment when you didn't know how you were going to make it through. Maybe it was a financial difficulty, a health struggle, a loss, or a season of uncertainty. You may have felt like giving up, but somehow you found a way forward. Something within you rose to meet the challenge. That wasn't just luck or coincidence, that was a deeper strength. Something that had been there all along, waiting to be revealed. History is filled with stories of people who underestimated themselves, only to discover that they had more in them than they ever imagined. Athletes who thought they had reached their limit push just a little further and break records. Entrepreneurs who faced rejection after rejection hold on just a little longer and eventually build something great. Parents who never thought they could handle another challenge find a way to provide for their children and keep going. Time and again, life proves that people are capable of far more than they initially believed. The reason many never tap into their full ability is because they stop at the first sign of difficulty. They assume that because something is hard, it means they've reached their limit. But difficulty isn't a stop sign, it's an invitation to dig deeper. When a challenge arises, it's not there to defeat you, it's there to reveal a new level of endurance. Some of the greatest breakthroughs come right after moments of exhaustion, where everything in you says, I can't do this anymore. But if you push past that point, you'll find something unexpected, a strength you never knew you had. Think about a muscle. If you never challenge it, it remains weak. But if you stretch it, if you push it beyond what feels comfortable, it begins to grow. The same is true for inner strength. It develops in the struggle. It grows in moments of pressure. The very things that seem to be working against you are actually working for you, making you stronger, giving you experience, teaching you resilience. This is why it's so important not to judge yourself based on a single season. You may be facing something that seems too big, too overwhelming, but just because you don't see a way out right now doesn't mean one doesn't exist. There are doors waiting to open, solutions waiting to be revealed, opportunities waiting to be discovered. Sometimes the only thing required is the determination to keep moving forward, even when the road isn't clear. There's something incredible that happens when you refuse to give in to discouragement. When you keep showing up, when you keep believing, when you keep pushing past the resistance, something shifts inside of you. The things that once felt impossible start to feel attainable. The situations that once made you anxious no longer have the same power over you. That's because strength isn't always about removing obstacles. It's about learning how to rise above them. Look back on your life. Think about the moments when you thought you wouldn't make it, yet here you are. You've survived things that once seemed unbearable. You've overcome struggles that once felt insurmountable. That's proof that there's more in you than you realize. If you made it through those challenges, what makes you think you won't make it through this one? If you found a way in the past, you will find a way again. It's time to change the way you see yourself. Instead of focusing on your limitations, start recognizing your potential. Instead of dwelling on what you don't have, start acknowledging the resources already inside you. Instead of backing down from difficulty, start seeing it as an opportunity to grow. When you wake up in the morning, remind yourself that you are capable. When challenges come, remind yourself that you have faced difficulties before and emerged stronger. When doubt tries to creep in, refuse to give it power. The more you reinforce the truth, the more it becomes your reality. Nothing in life is too big for you to handle. The road may be difficult, but that doesn't mean you're unprepared. The obstacles may seem overwhelming, but that doesn't mean you don't have what it takes to overcome them. You are not weak. You are not limited. You are not lacking. You have more inside of you than you can imagine. And when you start to believe that, you'll begin to walk in a new level of confidence. So don't let fear hold you back. Don't let past disappointments define you. Don't let the challenges of today convince you that you're not enough. You are already equipped for what's ahead. You are built with more endurance, more wisdom, more strength than you've ever tapped into. And if you keep pushing forward, you'll discover a version of yourself that is more powerful than you ever imagined. Life is unpredictable. No matter how much we plan, prepare, or try to stay in control, unexpected situations arise that challenge us in ways we never anticipated. Some of these challenges may seem like barriers, blocking us from where we want to be. They bring frustration, disappointment, and at times, the temptation to give up. It's easy to look at the obstacles in our path and think they are signs that we should stop moving forward. But often, what appears to be a roadblock is actually an opportunity in disguise. There are times when a door closes and it feels like everything is working against us. Maybe you've tried to achieve a goal, and no matter how hard you work, the results don't seem to match the effort. Perhaps you faced rejection, an opportunity you were counting on didn't come through, or someone you relied on let you down. In those moments, it's natural to feel discouraged, to wonder why things didn't go as planned. But what if the very thing that seemed like a setback was actually setting you up for something greater? Throughout history, there are countless stories of individuals who faced hardship only to later realize that those challenges led them to something better. An inventor who failed hundreds of times before discovering something groundbreaking. An athlete who suffered an injury only to come back stronger and redefine their career. A business owner who faced bankruptcy, then used that experience to build something even more successful. What seemed like an end was actually a new beginning. It's difficult to see this perspective in the middle of a struggle. When you're going through disappointment, it's hard to believe that it could be working in your favor. But often the very situations we want to avoid are the ones that shape us the most. They teach us lessons, refine our skills, and force us to grow in ways we never would have if everything had gone smoothly. Consider the process of refining gold. It doesn't become pure without being put through intense heat. Diamonds don't form without pressure. Muscles don't grow without resistance. The same principle applies in life. The difficulties we face are not there to weaken us, but to prepare us for something bigger. What seems like a detour is often leading us to a better path, even if we can't see it in the moment. Many times people give up too soon. They experience a challenge and assume it's a sign that they're on the wrong path. But the truth is, resistance doesn't mean you should stop. It means you're moving forward. No progress is made without some form of challenge. Just like a plane takes off against the wind, pushing through difficulties is what allows us to rise higher. Imagine someone climbing a mountain. The higher they go, the harder the journey becomes. The air gets thinner, the path gets steeper, and every step requires more effort. If they focused only on the struggle, they might turn back, believing it's too difficult. But if they keep going, eventually they reach the top. And the view is worth every challenge they faced. The same is true in life. The struggles you face today may be uncomfortable, but they are preparing you for something greater. They are teaching you endurance, strengthening your character, and building a foundation for future success. If everything always came easily, you wouldn't develop the strength needed to sustain the blessings ahead. It's easy to get caught up in comparing your journey to someone else's. You might look at others who seem to be succeeding effortlessly and wonder why your path is filled with so many obstacles. But what you don't see is the hidden struggles they faced along the way. Everyone has challenges, even if they're not visible. And often those who face the greatest difficulties are the ones being prepared for the greatest victories. When something doesn't work out the way you hoped, instead of seeing it as a failure, look for the lesson. Maybe that opportunity didn't come through because there was something better waiting for you. Maybe that challenge is equipping you with the skills and resilience you'll need later. Maybe that unexpected turn is leading you exactly where you're supposed to be. There are times in life when we have to trust that even in the struggle, something good is being worked out. When a door closes, it's because another one is meant to open. When things don't go as planned, it's because a better plan is unfolding. It may not make sense now, but one day you look back and see how everything was aligning in your favor. That's why it's so important to keep moving forward. Don't let obstacles convince you to stop pursuing your dreams. Don't let difficulties define your future. Every challenge is an opportunity in disguise. If you keep pushing through, if you refuse to give up, you look back and realize that what once seemed like a setback was actually a turning point leading you to something greater. In life, it's easy to believe that we are lacking something. When faced with challenges, doubts arise, and we start to think that we don't have what it takes. People often look at their limitations, what they don't have, or they haven't achieved, what they still need to learn, and convince themselves that they are not ready, not strong enough, or not capable. This mindset can hold a person back from stepping into the very things they are meant to accomplish, but the reality is different. Every individual has been equipped with more than they realize. The qualities necessary to overcome obstacles, to succeed in difficult situations, and to push forward in the face of uncertainty are already within. The problem is not a lack of ability or resources, but rather an inability to see what is already present. There are countless stories of people who have achieved extraordinary things, not because they had more than others, but because they recognized and used what they already had. A person who starts with nothing and builds a successful business. An athlete who isn't the strongest or the fastest, but uses their determination to outperform their competition. A single parent who finds a way to provide even when it seems impossible. These examples prove that external conditions are not the deciding factor. What matters is how a person sees themselves and what they choose to do with what is available to them. Often people underestimate their own strength. They assume that because they feel fear, they must lack courage. They think that because they face difficulties, they must be incapable. But courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite it. Strength isn't measured by never struggling. It's demonstrated in persistence, in continuing when things get tough. Many times, what a person perceives as weakness is actually proof of their resilience. A great example can be found in nature. Consider a small seed. It doesn't look like much at first. It appears insignificant, unimpressive. But within that tiny seed is everything needed to grow into a towering tree. It has the potential, the capacity, the blueprint for greatness inside of it. The only thing required is the right conditions. Time, effort, patience. The same is true for people. The abilities, the intelligence, the creativity, the endurance, it's all there, waiting to be developed. One of the biggest reasons people fail to see their potential is because they focus too much on what they believe they are missing. They compare themselves to others who seem to be ahead, who seem to have more talent, more resources, more opportunities. But comparison is a distraction. The only thing that matters is what a person does with what they already have. Some of the most successful individuals didn't start with ideal circumstances. Many of them began in situations where they had every reason to give up. But instead of focusing on what they lacked, they maximized what they had. They worked with what was in their hands, and as they did, new opportunities opened up. Challenges will always come. There will be times when the path ahead isn't clear, when doubts creep in, when obstacles seem too big to overcome. But in those moments, it's important to remember that nothing is missing. The strength to endure is already present. The ability to figure things out, to adapt, to grow, it's already there. When faced with difficulties, the key is not to look for something external to change, but to recognize what is already available. Every person has been through moments where they thought they wouldn't make it. Situations that seemed impossible at the time. But looking back, it becomes clear that somehow they found a way. They discovered strength they didn't know they had. They developed resilience they didn't think was possible. And if it happened before, it can happen again. Every experience builds something within, whether it's wisdom, endurance, or confidence. The more challenges a person faces, the more prepared they become for future obstacles. Life has a way of revealing hidden reserves of strength when they are needed most. There are times when a person may feel unqualified, unsure, unprepared. But just because those feelings exist doesn't mean they are true. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not the absence of fear or doubt. It's the decision to act anyway. It's time to stop waiting for the perfect moment, to stop believing the lie that something is missing. Everything needed for success, for growth, for victory is already present. The only requirement is to recognize it, to trust it, and to step forward with confidence. Even when the path isn't clear, even when uncertainty is present, there is no reason to shrink back. The ability to navigate through life's challenges is already there. All that's needed is to use it. Life brings moments of ease and moments of challenge. It's easy to feel confident and strong when everything is going well, when there are no obstacles in the way, and when things are unfolding according to plan. But then come the difficulties, the unexpected setbacks, the disappointments, the moments that test patience, endurance, and faith. These are the times that make a person question their ability to continue, the times that create doubt, frustration, and exhaustion. Yet it is precisely in these moments that true inner strength is revealed. Many people go through life assuming that struggle is a sign of weakness, that difficulties mean they are failing or not good enough. But in reality, the opposite is true. Resistance doesn't mean a person is incapable. It means they are being stretched, refined, and prepared for something greater. Just as a flame doesn't consume gold but purifies it, challenges don't destroy, they reveal. They bring out qualities that might never have surfaced otherwise. Think about the way endurance is built in an athlete. When training, muscles are pushed beyond their comfort zone. The first time a person lifts a weight or runs a long distance, it may feel impossible. There's discomfort, maybe even failure, but over time the body adapts. The same weight that once felt too heavy becomes manageable. The distance that once seemed too far becomes part of the routine. Strength isn't something that appears instantly. It is developed through continuous effort and perseverance. The same principle applies to life. Every difficulty faced is another opportunity to grow stronger. Often, the qualities that define a person's character are not developed in moments of comfort, but in moments of struggle. Patience is cultivated when things take longer than expected. Courage is built when fear is present, but action is taken anyway. Resilience is formed when setbacks happen, but quitting is not an option. The ability to navigate life's challenges doesn't come from avoiding hardship, but from facing it head on. Consider how pressure creates transformation. A lump of coal under the right amount of pressure and time becomes a diamond. Without the pressure, it remains what it is, unchanged. But with it, something new and valuable is formed. People are the same way. When everything is easy, There's little need to adapt, to push forward, to discover new strengths. But when challenges arise, when things don't go as planned, there is an opportunity for growth, for transformation, for something greater to emerge. In the middle of a difficult season, it may not feel like anything positive is happening. There may be moments of frustration, of exhaustion, of wondering if the effort is even worth it. But one day, looking back, it will become clear that the very challenges that seemed overwhelming were the ones that built endurance. The struggles that once felt like they would break you were actually making you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. There are countless examples of people who have faced enormous obstacles only to later realize that those very obstacles were the stepping stones to something greater. A business person who faced financial failure learned lessons that later led to success. An artist who faced rejection used that experience to refine their craft. A person who endured personal hardship became an example of perseverance for others. The difficulties didn't define them. Their response to those difficulties did. This is why it's so important not to shrink back when challenges arise, not to see them as proof of inadequacy, but as proof that something deeper is being built. Every obstacle faced is an opportunity to develop greater strength. Every time a person chooses to keep moving forward despite the difficulty, they are adding another layer to their resilience. It's easy to admire strong individuals, people who seem to have an unshakable spirit, who continue pressing forward no matter what comes their way. But that strength wasn't given to them overnight. It was developed in the moments when quitting seemed easier, in the times when everything inside them said to stop, but they chose to keep going. The same strength exists in everyone. The difference is whether or not it is allowed to grow. When life becomes challenging, when pressure increases, when uncertainty looms, it's important to remember that these moments are not signs of failure. They are opportunities. They are invitations to dig deeper, to see what's really inside, to discover strength that may not have been visible before. The difficulties aren't there to defeat. They are there to reveal something greater. Looking back on past challenges, it becomes clear that the strength to overcome was always there. The ability to keep going, to find solutions, to navigate through struggles, it was already present. And just as it was enough then, it will be enough now. No difficulty is too great, no setback too final, no pressure too much to handle. The proof of strength is not in avoiding hardship, but in facing it, growing from it, and allowing it to reveal what has been there all along. In life, it's easy to get overwhelmed by the magnitude of challenges ahead. When faced with a big goal, a major setback, or an unexpected obstacle, the mind immediately starts calculating the effort required to overcome it. Thoughts of how much work it will take, how long it might last, or how difficult the journey could be create feelings of doubt and hesitation. This is when many people stop before they even start. Not because they lack ability, but because they believe the path ahead is too much to handle. But what if the focus shifted? What if instead of worrying about the entire journey, attention was placed only on the next step? There is something powerful about breaking challenges into small, manageable pieces. A mountain may seem impossible to climb, but step by step, progress is made. A book may seem too long to write, but one sentence at a time, it is completed. Any great achievement, any major transformation begins not with everything figured out, but with one small decision to move forward. People often underestimate the power of small steps. They assume that unless a big leap is taken, progress isn't being made. But real growth doesn't happen all at once. It happens gradually, through consistent effort. Just like a tree doesn't grow overnight, but strengthens over time, so does resilience, confidence, and success. Each action, no matter how small, contributes to the bigger picture. Consider the way water shapes stone. A rushing flood may have an immediate impact, but even the softest trickle of water, given enough time, can carve through solid rock. The same principle applies in life. It's not always the big moments that define success, but the small daily choices to keep going. When something seems too difficult, rather than focusing on the entire challenge, the key is to focus on the next step, the one action that can be taken in the present moment. There are countless stories of individuals who achieved extraordinary things, not because they had all the answers from the beginning, but because they took consistent, small steps forward. An inventor who experimented hundreds of times before discovering the right solution, a musician who practiced daily until mastery was achieved, an entrepreneur who started with nothing but continued pushing forward, one decision at a time. In every case, progress was made not through sudden breakthroughs, but through steady, intentional action. One of the biggest obstacles people face is the belief that effort isn't worth it unless results are immediate. But this mindset is what keeps many from reaching their full potential. Imagine someone training for a marathon. If they expect to run 26 miles in a single day without practice, they will become discouraged. But if they commit to running a little more each day, their endurance builds. Before they know it, what once seemed impossible becomes possible. It's easy to compare progress to others and feel behind, to see someone who has already achieved success and assume they had it easier. But what isn't visible is the process, the years of dedication, the struggles, the small daily choices that led them to where they are. Every great achievement is built on a foundation of small, consistent actions that eventually create lasting results. When a challenge arises, when doubt creeps in, when the road ahead feels uncertain, the answer is always the same: focus on the next step. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be forward. Because movement, no matter how small, is still progress. Sometimes the hardest part is starting. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, and fear of making the wrong decision create hesitation. But inaction is what keeps people stuck. The moment a step is taken, momentum begins, confidence grows, strength is built. What once seemed impossible becomes more achievable with each small act of courage. Think about a sculptor creating a masterpiece. At first, the block of stone looks rough and unformed. But with each small chisel, a shape begins to emerge. The sculptor doesn't expect to reveal the final image with one strike. Instead, they patiently chip away, trusting that the small, consistent movements will lead to something remarkable. Life is the same way. The future isn't built in an instant. It's shaped by the choices made every day. There will be days when progress feels slow, when results aren't visible, when the effort seems unnoticed. But just because growth isn't always seen doesn't mean it isn't happening. Just as a seed takes time to sprout beneath the surface before breaking through the soil, so does transformation. The work being done today is preparing the way for tomorrow's success. The key is not to let the size of the goal or the difficulty of the challenge create discouragement. Instead of focusing on the entire journey, focus on the next step. Instead of worrying about how long something will take, commit to doing something today, because every step forward, no matter how small, is bringing progress closer. Looking back, it will become clear that the moments of greatest growth weren't necessarily the big milestones, but the small, consistent steps that led there. The strength to continue was always present. It just needed to be activated, one decision at a time. Life has a way of presenting challenges that seem overwhelming. Moments arise when the weight of responsibilities, setbacks, or disappointments feels too heavy to carry. It's in these times that doubt begins to whisper, convincing a person that they aren't strong enough, that they don't have what it takes, that the road ahead is too difficult. But those thoughts don't tell the full story. Strength is not always loud, not always obvious, but it is always present, waiting to be discovered. Many people assume that strength is something external, something that has to be gained, earned, or received from somewhere else. But true strength is not something that comes from outside sources. It's not found in ideal circumstances, in an absence of hardship, or in waiting for things to become easier. It comes from within. It's already there, built through experience, developed in difficult times, and revealed when life is filled with moments that test patience, endurance, and courage. There will be times when the road ahead seems too difficult, when the weight of responsibility feels overwhelming, and when doubts try to convince you that you don't have what it takes. But the truth is, you are stronger than you think. Strength is not found in perfect circumstances. It is not dependent on having all the answers or never feeling fear. It is revealed in persistence, in taking small steps forward, even when the outcome is uncertain, in refusing to give up when challenges arise. Every experience, every struggle, every obstacle has been shaping and preparing you for what's ahead. You have already overcome things you once thought were impossible. You have already proven that resilience, endurance, and determination are within you. The same strength that carried you through past difficulties will carry you through the ones ahead. The same power that helped you rise before will help you rise again. Now is the time to believe it, to trust that you are capable, to stop waiting for the perfect moment and start moving forward with what you have, because everything you need is already inside you. No obstacle is too great, no dream too big, and no challenge too overwhelming when you recognize the strength that has been there all along. You are stronger than you think. Now it's time to live like it.